Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. Junior Motorsports now has won more Xfinity races in a season than they ever have, and I'm curious how much, being on kind of loan to them for just a year, like how much do you feel as being a part of that organization, and how much, if anything, does it add to the accomplishment of the season to be part of that?
Yeah, it's being a Trackhouse signed driver, but racing for JRM. Every time I walk in the JRM building, I'm not a Trackhouse driver. I'm a JRM driver, and they've made me feel at home and given me a place to grow and succeed in the series, and I'll be forever grateful for that. And I don't really treat it as a short-term home. I want to race for JRM in the future and races, and I've really just fallen in love with all the people there and the organization. Dale, Kelly, LW, Hendrick Engine Shop does a great job, giving us a ton of horsepower, and just there's so much to it that I enjoy being a part of, and I don't see it as a place where I'm just going to be there and going to leave and then never talk to them again. I really do enjoy racing with them, and they've truly made me feel like family in this short amount of time.
Go ahead, Tim.
Tim Moore, Motorsports Today. Congrats on the win, Connor. First off, I got to ask, who came up with the idea for you to slide down the windshield there?
I kind of just thought of that while I was up there, and actually ripped my fire suit. So, I guess I just can't celebrate. I should probably I should just get out of the car and sit on the ground, because everything I do just seems to go to hell. So, I got to figure out what to do. But I just was sitting up there, and it looked like an easy way down, and I didn't think I would get hurt doing that. So, it was my idea, but poorly executed.
So it's safe to say then we're not going to see that again in the future.
I like doing it, honestly. I did it better in Victory Lane. So maybe I'll have to try it again and see if I can just do it a little bit better and not cut my suit wide open.
And obviously, you continue to rack up the accolades. You're the third driver now to win 4 straight races. You're 4 away from potentially tying Kyle Busch's record. Do you start maybe thinking about trying to chase 13? And did you think at the start of the year you'd even have a possibility? I think you said earlier in the week you thought you were going to only win 4 races. You end up beyond doubling that.
Yeah, I'm not chasing records, but I show up to the track every week and want to win. So, I hope I get to 13, but it's not like my season's going to be a disaster if I don't get there. So, I don't really look at those things. It's cool to get those records and accolades, but, at the end of the day, I just show up and I'm just a race car driver who wants to race and win. And, that's my biggest focus, and winning for my team and my sponsors. And, I try not to get too deep into all the numbers and records and all that. It's cool to do that stuff, but, I'm here for myself, and that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
We'll go to Blake.
Blake Smith, WVGS Radio. Connor, congratulations on the win. Through that last stretch of restarts there, caution after caution, and to try to psych you out there knowing it was going to be the same restart every time and try to hold off that win. Yeah,
it's tough because here the outside's a little more dominant, but when you give someone the inside, they have the opportunity to just kind of run you up the track and take advantage of you. So I wanted to take the inside, but my heart kind of just told me to take the outside and carry the momentum off of 2, and it ended up working out for me. But, those late race restarts are always stressful, and, you never know what the guys around you are going to do or how desperate they're going to be, especially when, the third place guy is trying to lock into the playoffs, and, there's just a lot on the line at all times, and those guys are racing for a lot, and I'm racing for my spot in the regular season championship, and, it's just stressful. So, you can only control what you can control, and that was kind of my mindset going into them.
Did your team communicate with you the status of the 7 car? Was that a little less stressful going towards the end of the race knowing he wasn't having such a good night?
Yeah, I kind of just saw how the night was going for him after he sped on pit road. It kind of just, it's hard to pass here, and I knew a mistake like that was going to be detrimental, and I wish I could have raced against him for the win and had some more junior motorsports cars up there, but those circumstances happen, and those mistakes are easy to make. So once he kind of got stuck back there, you're in the hornet's nest, and I'm sure he got caught up in a wreck that wasn't his fault, and it's definitely unfortunate to have that happen to a teammate.
Thank you.
We're going to come to the middle to Dustin, and then we're going to go to Dalton behind him, and then Dustin up in the front.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski. Connor, you kind of hit on it, but with William, and then, I don't know if you know, but Christian made a late run too. Like, how desperate did you think they were going to get or could get?
Yeah, I was just, every lap, I was counting down the laps to the next caution. I was just waiting for it to happen. I thought it was going to happen there at the end, and, having two guys behind me who were racing their way, trying to race their way into the playoffs with a win is, and, in the last race of the regular season, they're going to do anything for that. So, I was just hoping that a caution didn't come out. But, I know those guys are going to be desperate for it. But, you only know, and, it didn't happen. So I didn't have to worry about it.
We'll go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Connor, some drivers don't always have a season like this. So I'm curious where you are in your career, the balance in celebrating and enjoying this, but also continuing to push yourself to get better, not only for this season, but for the challenge that lies ahead next year.
Yeah, it's a fine line. By no means do I get to a point ever, and I hope I never get to a point in my career where I become complacent and satisfied. That's why Jimmy Johnson's a 7-time champion. He won 5-6 championships and still outworked everybody every week. And that's why I kind of look up to him. Although this season's gone really well, every time a Cup guy comes down and runs in the Xfinity Series, they set the bar to a higher level, and it's definitely humbling. And knowing that I'm going to race against 35 of those guys every week next year is always in the back of my mind. And, at the same time, for me to be 19 and having such a successful year, I don't only think about the future. Like, I'm enjoying it each moment, and each Sunday I go home and I make sure that I enjoy it with my family and my friends, and I celebrate these wins. But in the back of my mind, I definitely have the thought of, what can I do to be better, and what can I learn in these races this year that'll help me next year. So yeah, it's a fine line, but I definitely try to enjoy each moment and not look too far ahead of me, because there's only so much I can do at this point. But it's definitely tough to balance that.
And what does it mean to have this type of success, particularly on oval tracks, because that was a relatively new discipline for you a few years ago, just trying to figure things out, and just the progress from that point to now?
Yeah, I got tired of people calling me a ringer, and although I'll probably still get it, it's definitely something that I don't want to be. I want to be a guy who can show up anywhere and win races, and I'll continue to try and do my best to prove that to people, and try and learn on these ovals to continue to get better. But I feel like I've gotten to a point where I've proven myself a little bit at least. So yeah, it's really cool to be able to come to these places and come here for the first time and win races and walk out of here with a trophy. And a lot of that is just due to everybody at Chevrolet who helps me each week prepare for these new tracks. And I roll out for practice, and my first lap of practice, I just feel like I know what I'm doing. And as a driver, that's very confidence instilling. So it's really all the people around me who have helped me get to this point and taught me to just learn at a different rate.
I'm quick, sorry. When you say you didn't like the idea of being a ringer, are you serious, or are you kind of like just half joking about that? Is that something that would really gnaw at you?
It didn't eat at me. It's not like I lost sleep over it, but it's just, I feel like I've proven that I can win anywhere, and when guys are still calling me a road course ringer, it's just like, I want to get past that. So, I didn't lose sleep over it, but it's certainly something that I was like, come on. Yeah.
Any additional questions? We'll come to the middle.
Mitchell Kavinsky, ABC 17 News. With those restarts, as they start stacking up in the end, like, what goes into timing it for you? And does it get more difficult trying to keep the field guessing as those kind of pile up near the end?
Yeah, it's funny. The Xfinity Series, for some reason, the standard is to go in the first 5 feet of the box. So, that last restart, I tried to wait, and I got 10 feet inside the box, and it wasn't until the 18 completely ran me over and hit me so hard it caved my back bumper in. And I wish that we could just be a little bit more patient in the restart box, but the standard is just to go early. And when the 19 is coming up to me with a run and just anticipating me to go early, it's you're at such a disadvantage as the leader at some times. So it's really hard because, if you wait, then the guy behind you is going to ship you. And if you go early, then the guy next to you knows when you're going to go, because it's just kind of the expected standard. So yeah, it's really weird, honestly. You race in Cup and guys are going early, they're going late, and people are more patient on restarts. But yeah, in Xfinity, it's just you get to the start of the box and everyone's wanting to go.
We're going to wrap up in the corner, please.
Andre Perez with CatchFence.com. Do you feel like there's somewhat sort of relief now that like you're regular season champion and that next year you're signed with Trackhouse?
I definitely feel like it's nice to know what I'm doing next year. There's a lot of drivers who, don't have that privilege, and it's certainly nice. But at the same time, I put a lot of pressure on myself, going into the playoffs. And honestly, the playoffs is where the real pressure starts. Every week becomes really important, and you can lose your championship really fast in one weekend. So yeah, we're going to continue to just keep on executing on all levels, and I wouldn't say that the pressure has lifted now that we're done with the regular season. If anything, it's picked up going into the playoffs.
So do you still have the same mindset going in, or is it like a completely new, different one?
Yeah, it's the same mindset. I don't have much reason to change what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to keep trying to do the same thing every week until it steers me wrong. And I'm definitely excited for the playoffs. It's my first time ever in a playoff format in any form of racing, so it's going to be new to me, but it's the same thing, every week. We show up and we want to win, and we want to score as many points as possible, and I think that's the mindset, every week, playoffs or not.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
You have a 59-point lead.
59
59 point
on the cut?
Yeah.
That's a full race, so that's not bad.
Yeah, so you can go away and win.
Yes, well, 2 races then.
Steven Stump of FrontStretch.com here. Come back for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.